this is a bit of a complex story that I'm going to have to talk about because it involves multiple people throwing in tweets, and I'm going to have to get into all of that, so it is going to take a while to get through all of this. But basically, this is based on Gad Saad. This guy, Gad Saad, if you don't know who Gad Saad is, he is really fucking weird. He's really, really weird. He's kind of like an IDW bootlicker, basically, and he's literally an IDW reject. So what happened and he's always grouped himself with people like Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris and all those other guys, Dave Rubin. But when Barry Weiss had published the article to the New York Times, if you guys remember, that was the official lineup of the intellectual dark web, was the people who were included in that. And he was not included, and he was not happy about that. And I'll read you guys the tweet that he sent out. He sent out a tweet, Gad Saad sent this out, saying, "Thank you to all those who tagged Barry Weiss to point her to the glaring omission in her New York Times piece. She must have missed my engagement over the past 20 plus years, both in academia and in the public arena, when few, if any, academics were speaking out against bad ideas." So he tweeted that out, and he also tweeted another one out. He tweeted out an email from one of his fans who's like, giving him a hand job, blow job, basically. And he says, "This goes out to Miss Barry Weiss, who might have missed that which the blind could see. One of innumerable emails that I receive on a daily basis, only providing you the data to ensure that in the future you pursue your journalistic integrity with greater alacrity." Okay, really, bruh? So basically, this guy got super, super butthurt and salty that he was not put in that article, which had, the Weinstein Bros, Sam Harris, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro. I'm struggling to remember the others. I think that was it. There were a couple others. I can't remember them right now. But and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. He has mercilessly attempted and desperately attempted to group himself with those people for the longest time, and he's always done this. So he was really butthurt when that happened. The guy's kind of a joke, but he ended up getting implicated with Sam Seder and a couple of other people, which includes Michael Brooks ended up jumping in, Tim Pool ended up jumping in. It's just an interesting situation. So let me guide you through all this. So someone had responded to one of Gad Saad's tweets saying, "Hello, Professor Saad. What's your thoughts on Dave Rubin refusing to debate Sam Seder? I find it weird he only wants to exchange ideas with the ones he agrees with." Now, of course, this is 100% true. And this criticism only applies to people like Dave Rubin and people who make similar statements. And I'm going to get into this because it's a little more nuanced than you would think. But Dave Rubin has made his entire identity and shtick solely based on the free marketplace of ideas, the free exchange of ideas. That's his whole game. That's his whole shtick, right? Everything. That's his thing. So when you say that, you have to live up to that. So you can't just have an echo chamber of right-winger after right-winger on your show, and then when all of the lefties want to come on, you don't let them come on. You are a hypocrite, and we're going to call you out for that. Same thing with Steven Crowder, who goes, lefties won't debate me, I do this, change my mind, show me anyone who does that, and then you're ducking Sam Seder like a pussy. And same thing with Jordan Peterson. He's like, Joe Rogan asked him, "Well, have you ever had a debate with the Marxists?" And he goes, "Well, Marxists don't debate me." Richard Wolff comes out and is like, "Hey, bitch, let's debate." And he's like, "Oop, I just raised my fee to do an interview with you." What? So this strictly applies to them. Now, Gad Saad responded to this saying, "Well, no one is forced to engage in a conversation with another. Having seen some of Seder's shtick, I am not surprised that Rubin Report refuses to engage him. It's his right. I also despise Ebola and seek to avoid it when possible." Oh boy, it's a hot take. Let's actually get into that first. So you're right. No one is forced to engage. No one's making that argument. The argument we're making here is, if Dave Rubin and people like Steven Crowder and Jordan Peterson were to be consistent, because you're right. If you don't debate somebody, that doesn't take you down, unless your entire existence and meme existence is based on the free marketplace of ideas, the free exchange of ideas, change my mind, but you're ducking Seder like a pussy. If that's what you're doing, we're going to call you out because you're a hypocrite. And that's how this shit works. It's very obvious, very clear. So no one's saying that. And, you know, why are you not surprised that Dave Rubin is, you know, dodging him? And what's Seder's shtick? I don't get what his shtick is. Like, making fun of Dave Rubin because he's an idiot? Oh, and by the way, I should say this. I believe that Gad Saad is kind of a Dave Rubin lackey. And I say that because it usually seems like Dave Rubin is kind of like sometimes trying to have him on. He's like, oh, I might sneak this guy onto my show. He said that about Gad Saad, and Gad usually kind of like tries to include himself in the actions of those people and the lives of those people. So he does seem kind of to be like that Dave Rubin type lackey. Now, Ebola, like, was that, huh? Like, okay, there is a difference between making a comparison and an analogy, and I'm guessing that's an analogy, but it's not even apt. Like, that analogy isn't apt, okay? And then he responds to his own tweet to continue his thought. He says, one of Seder's colleagues reached out to me a while ago to come on his show. I refused. I also don't debate creationists and Holocaust deniers, but they have a right to spew their BS, albeit I don't have to grant them any of my time. So what he's trying to do here is, and this is the problem, and I tried thinking this through as to, oh, you know, maybe he's not comparing Sam Seder to a Holocaust denier or a creationist. But I couldn't get myself to make that logic run. That doesn't make sense. Like, in this case, when you're saying that, you know, you're not going to debate him the same way you're not going to debate those people, that does mean that you are invoking those people to compare them. Because otherwise, why would you bring it up? Why would that be an analogous statement? Because that doesn't make sense. So what you actually are doing is you are comparing him to, and by the way, call him a Holocaust denier. Oh, that's a spicy take, dog. Sam's a Jew, dude. That's a pretty fucking spicy take, bro. That's pretty spicy. That's pretty spicy, dog. I have to say, pretty fucking spicy. Anyways, and Sam is a creationist. I am not really sure why, but there is no such comparison. There is no such similarity. It is hilarious that he would even make this claim. It is unbelievably unmatchably stupid that he would make that claim and have it so that, you know, Sam Seder is in the group of people who say insane things that I would not debate, such as, you know, a Holocaust denier or a creationist or a flat earther as an example, or a climate change denier. And so Sam Seder jumps in on this. He jumps in to respond saying, since you seem to feel comfortable weighing in with an opinion, mind elaborating on what you perceive my shtick to be and how you came to your assessment. So he's asking, yo, dog, what's my shtick? The fuck you talking about, G? Like, I'm out here. Dave Rubin says lefties won't come on my show. I'm a lefty. I want to come on your show. And he's not having him on. So, I mean, if that's kind of your shtick, I mean, that's pretty embarrassing to really say the least, to be honest with you. And here is another tweet from Sam Seder responding to it. He says, I'm not aware, but certainly possible my associate may have invited you to talk to him. But if more interest, Professor, what have I said that you would equate me with the Holocaust denier? Also, again, I ask, please explain your earlier comments regarding my shtick. #IDW. Now, this is where Tim Pool jumps in. He says, lately it seems like the only thing you have going on is something about Dave Rubin, or at least that's what YouTube is recommending to me. That is one of the most hilarious statements I've ever seen in my entire life, because it shows that you don't know Sam Seder and you don't know about his show. This dude does some long-ass shows, and he straight up will talk to callers for like, we've seen conversations that he does with callers for like half an hour. Some random dude just calls in, and he'll just debate him for like half an hour on school lunches. Like, what the fuck? And you're talking about Dave Rubin, and someone took a screenshot of Sam Seder's last 66 videos, and one of them was Dave Rubin. And Dave Rubin is the butt of jokes on their show, as it is here, because Dave Rubin is stupid, and he's the butt of jokes because he's hilarious to invoke as a joke. And Sam Seder responded to Tim Pool saying, "That's incorrect. My guess is YouTube pushes videos to users based on what they generally seek out and watch. I suspect if you pursued an interest in, say, long-form policy discussions, YouTube would recommend the near-daily ones I post on YouTube to you." So the sad truth about YouTube and just what people watch, people on YouTube are not very interested in long-form policy debates, and so that's why Tim Pool says something like that. It's just the sad state that exists over on YouTube. So that kind of went down. Now Michael Brooks did also end up jumping into this, so he ended up responding a couple of times. Going after him. I think he was kind of concerned with whether or not. Here's what he said. He said, "We were connected by a mutual fan of our work. After a few DMs, Gad begged off. Apparently, he wasn't impressed by how I debated Carl of Swindon." And then he says, "Back to the game." I'm assuming he's referencing the Super Bowl, which, by the way, was complete garbage. And as a Saints fan, I feel 100% vindicated. Fuck the Rams. Fuck the NFL. Back to the story. So Tim Pool also said some other things as well. And he said, "Oh, leave me out of this," because people were responding to his dumbass tweet. And I was like, "Dude, you inserted yourself into it. What do you mean, leave me out of this? You inserted yourself," and you're like, "Leave me out of this." What the fuck? Okay, I found that one to be really funny. But then, like, if you look through Michael's Twitter feed, he's just like dunking on Gad Saad over and over again, because he's sort of an easy target. So I mean, that's kind of how it goes. So this essentially implicated Sam Seder, Tim Pool, Michael Brooks, Gad Saad. And, here's the thing. So Gad Saad trying to say that, that debating Sam Seder is in some way, even in the slightest, similar to debating a Holocaust denier or something to that effect, is legitimately the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and especially spicy take considering that he's Jewish. Insane, flaming hot Woj bomb, freaking take there, okay? Unbelievable. Unbelievably stupid. Doesn't make any sense. And this guy is an IDW reject. Now, would he be right if he were talking about somebody who didn't critique someone for dodging a debate? He would be right. So, let's say that Dave Rubin wasn't about that. Let's say Dave Rubin didn't say that I'm about the free marketplace of ideas and free exchange of ideas. Let's say Dave Rubin didn't say that lefties won't come on his show. Then yeah, that makes sense. Okay, you're not like, then it's not really a big deal. But when you do that, dude, you're going to get called out, and and Dave Rubin is going to be vociferously trolled till the end of time. You have no idea how long he's going to be trolled for, especially when he feeds these guys by blocking them. I mean, dude, I don't know if anybody on Twitter has a larger block list than Dave Rubin. I mean, holy smokes. The dude blocks like everybody he disagrees with. It's insane. It's unbelievable. The guy is a massive joke. So, the point here being is Gad Saad is not someone to be taken seriously. He is an IDW reject. He was unable to make it into the IDW despite trying really, 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 really hard. Really. When I say really hard, dude, I mean really hard. He was whining on Twitter to Barry Weiss saying, "Oh, why didn't you put me in the dark web? Look at me, 20 years fighting bad ideas, and look at this email some fan sent giving me a blowjob. Why didn't you put me in the New York Times article?" And the guy's just a weird person too, like such a weird. I also saw this funny ass tweet from this dude on Twitter who posts funny ass stuff, and it was him. 2 examples of him tweeting out a joke, attempting to make fun of the left, and he had to respond to his own joke by saying, "Hey, you morons, this is comedy. I'm making fun of the left." His comedy was so bad, and this plays into maybe he really takes after Dave Rubin. His comedy is so bad that he's just like Dave Rubin in that way too. But he had to let them know, like, "Yo, I'm joking." When you kind of have to tell someone a funny joke that you're making a joke, it's most likely didn't land. Like, the way you said it probably didn't work, and it probably wasn't a good joke in full context. of what happened. So let me know your thoughts about this. Sam Seder being ducked by Pussy Crowder, as well as being ducked by Dave Rubin, and neither of these guys are going to get away. I know what their strategies are, by the way, guys. We've seen it. They're trying to ghost Sam Seder, but we're not going to let it happen. Like, we are here. I don't know what they think is going to happen. Like, they think that all the Sam Seder fans on Twitter are just going to disappear. What do you think? They're just going to go away? Dude, there's a billboard that's about to be posted up in LA trolling Dave Rubin about it. You think they're going away? They're going to fortify. They're going to multiply. The trolls aren't going away. So either you have to stop being a pussy or just get trolled for the rest of your life. I really don't even know which route you're going to take, but you really got two options there, Rubin and Crowder. That's what you got.